Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel, and here's a headline from Yahoo Finance from 3 days ago. Maxine Waters thanks SBF for being candid about FTX collapse. And Congresswoman Maxine Waters has been very buddy-buddy with SBF in the recent years, let's say. And it's interesting seeing what she wrote to him, and this whole thing starts 3 days ago, and then I've got the latest stuff literally from today. So I'll get you all caught up to speed on what's been occurring here. But it's just fascinating that she's been very heavy-handed against certain specific individuals in the world of tech. But then when it comes to an absolute fraudster and scammer, Maxine Waters is a bit friendly. And I mean, when you see the pictures of them together and the fact that I kid you not, I'll show you the video, she blew him a kiss previously before the fraud was discovered. She likes the guy, and the fact that it's now clear he's stolen billions, literally billions of dollars, doesn't seem to change anything from her perspective. And so I've got some pushback from attorney John Deaton on this topic. I got a comment from attorney Jeremy Hogan. So I'll get you all caught up to speed. But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a legal or financial background of any kind. I am not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so here's the tweet that started it, and this was 3 days ago, December 2nd at 9:01 a.m. Central Standard Time. Maxine Waters tweeted out the following. She tagged Sam Bankman-Fried and wrote, "We appreciate that you've been candid in your discussions about what happened at FTX. Your willingness to talk to the public will help the company's customers, investors, and others. To that end, we would welcome your participation in our hearing on the 13th. Oh, isn't that so cordial and nice? Sam Bankman-Fried, would you just come in? Let's come in and talk to us. We'll get this straightened out. We'll figure this all out together. A little bit friendly, a little buddy-buddy there, right? A little peculiar. And then here was SBF's response, and this was yesterday afternoon at 3:10 p.m. SBF retweeted that from Maxine Waters and wrote, "Rep. Waters and the House Committee on Financial Services. Once I have finished learning and reviewing what happened, I would feel like it was my duty to appear before the committee and explain. I'm not sure that will happen by the 13th, but when it does, I will testify." And so isn't it interesting? He's been on all sorts of in all sorts of interviews over much of the last, like the better part of a week, including with Andrew Ross Sorkin. He's been on Twitter Spaces. You know, he's talking, but when it comes specifically here, he doesn't want to. Is that because there might be additional legal implications? You know, Twitter Spaces versus actually, lying to Congress. Maybe that's the reason. Do you think that might be why? But he's been happy to talk outside of that because it seems to be pretty clear that his strategy is to not admit actual fraud, or at least he's trying not to. But he is admitting that he messed up, which also has serious legal consequences for him. And it is fraud. Like, to be clear, there's no two ways about it. He's a scammer, a fraudster. He took people's money, wasn't allowed to, and did what he wanted with it. Completely illegal. That's fraud. So he's just saying, "Oops, so I just got out over my skis a little bit." No. You little punk-ass bitch. That is not the case. That is absolutely not the case. He's a liar, but you can see this is how he is positioning everything. And so Maxine Waters, give a tiny bit of credit, just 6 hours ago, she retweeted that from Sam Bankman-Fried, and she was somewhat insistent, but it's still not with the same vigor that I've seen her go after other people in the world of tech, which I'll highlight in just a second here. But she did push back against SBF, effectively saying, "Well, probably not going to make it by the 13th, but yeah, I'll be happy to speak to you at some, undisclosed point in time in the future." So Maxine Waters then wrote, "Based on your role as CEO and your media interviews over the past few weeks, it's clear to us that the information you have thus far is sufficient for testimony. As you know, the collapse of FTX has harmed over 1 million people. Your testimony would not only be meaningful to members of Congress, but is also critical to the American people. It is imperative that you attend our hearings on the 13th, and we are willing to schedule continued meetings if there is more information to be shared later." And that's one of the more reasonable things I've ever heard from Maxine Waters. who famously called Bitcoin Bitcom because she knows what the hell she's talking about. Yeah, she called it Bitcom. But everybody needs to get some Bitcom. And here she is being all buddy-buddy with Sam Bankman-Fried, for those of you looking at the screen, standing right next to him. And I don't know if I have it pulled up. Here, let me just jump to it so I can just show you now. There was, I got a video clip here somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Here's a video clip of Maxine Waters literally blowing Sam Bankman-Fried a kiss at some point in the past. So they've got a positive relationship, which I think is what's resulted in a little bit of the friendly approach from Maxine Waters. She's not treating him like an outright scammer, but he's an outright scammer. And that's the part that's obviously rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. And so here you have Library, who has been utterly destroyed by the SEC. They lost their case in November. The official Library account wrote to Maxine Waters on Twitter and said, "Hey, Maxine Waters, we'd like to be treated nicely by the government the way criminals like SBF are. Can you let us know how much to write a check for and where to send it? Feel free to direct message if you want to keep this private." Now, that was funny, but there's truth to it. That's why it is funny. And look at this, too. So Maxine Waters, she has 1.6 million followers on Twitter, and that tweet that the Library responded to got 6,767 likes. Then Library, with 108,500 followers, so roughly 1/16 as many followers, got almost twice as many tweets as what Maxine Waters wrote. They got 11,800 likes on that. Because everybody can see this as a joke. We appreciate you being candid. No, that's complete garbage. You don't treat them like that. That's completely repulsive. And then there was this from attorney John Deaton. He wrote, "What is wrong with many in Congress summed up in a single tweet? The only way this tweet makes any sense is if after he testifies at the hearing, he is arrested. But I don't think that is the case." And then in a separate tweet, attorney Deaton wrote, "They have the nerve to accuse us as being cynical when we think that being the second largest donor to the Democrats is paying dividends." And indeed, that's just a fact. He's the second largest. I'm not trying to make things political, but it's just a fact within this case. So he donated to both sides, but as from what I've seen publicly available, most of it to that particular political party. And Maxine Waters just happens to be playing nice as a result. See, this isn't how she normally acts. An attorney named Gabriel Shapiro shared a couple screen grabs from Maxine Waters from October 23rd, 2019 rather, and they read as follows. Again, this is from Maxine Waters, and you juxtapose this to, what she said, 3 days ago. "We appreciate you, SBF. You're so candid." Now, look at how she's writing here, talking about Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. She says, "Misuse, exclamation point. Manipulation, exclamation point. Discrimination." And there's another exclamation point. "Criminal activity, exclamation point." This is what she wrote. And then she says, "Just a few of Facebook's egregious offenses, and now they have the nerve to launch a big tech takeover in the form of a currency that could rival the US dollar? Is it 10 o'clock yet? Mr. Zuckerberg and I have a lot to discuss." And so obviously talking about, what was that coin called? Libra? That Facebook rather ended up abandoning. She's furious over that. It's criminal activity, and she's not afraid to call it out for what it is. And then in a separate tweet, she wrote, "No one is above the law, including Mark Zuckerberg. Facebook has allowed election interference, released private data, violated civil rights laws, among other offenses, and now they're trying to launch a big tech takeover by creating this mysterious Zuckbuck. Not on my watch." Ooh, she's fierce right there. But then when it comes to SBF, and again, here it is again, just to compare it right after what I just shared with you there. And this is from 3 days ago. Let's read it again. "SBF, we appreciate that you've been candid in your discussions about what happened at FTX. Your willingness to talk to the public will help the company's customers, investors, and others. To that end, we would welcome your participation in our hearing on the 13th. Oh, isn't that so nice? Just welcome them right in. It's so friendly. Where's the other Maxine Waters that yells at people when they break the law? Where's that one? Can she come in here real quick? I don't understand what's going on here. Attorney Jeremy Hogan wrote to Maxine Waters and said, "You, as the chairwoman or the committee itself, can just subpoena him to testify. No need to ask nicely on Twitter. It's House Rule 11 Clause 2M, but I'm sure you already knew that." And that's something I actually was unaware of. She doesn't have to ask him nicely. So not only is it ridiculous that she's asking nice in the first place, why aren't you just forcing him to come? Subpoena. Why are you not doing that? And then you have J.W. Verrett here, who wrote the following. He said, when I was senior counsel at House Financial Services under the last chairman, I helped write the rule change that gives her unilateral authority to issue a subpoena without needing a vote of her committee. So why isn't she just doing that then? A little suspicious, right? She's still, it's like, you're not going to get another dime from SBF ever again. He's not your friend. Why are you still playing nice? My gosh. I'll wrap up there. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.